This country is globally known for its sweeping rice paddies and Buddhist pagodas. However, behind the tourist facade hides an economy struggling to capitalize on their natural resources and the 22 million in their labor force. Myanmar, formerly known as Burma, left the British Empire in 1948 to grow their economy. Gifted with arable land and water, Myanmar had the perfect scene for economic development, similar to other Asian countries that developed in the 1950s, like Malaysia and China. However, this economic development never followed, and more than 70 years later, Myanmar is still around the middle of human development with an HDI score of 0.585, ranked 149th globally.
But why does Myanmar fail to achieve economic growth and development given its resources and connections to global powers like India and China? The most prominent event that rocked Myanmar's economic abilities was the military coup in February 2021. This, coupled with the struggles of the pandemic, set Myanmar back even further. Alongside the coup, this lack of development breaks down to two main reasons, one economic and one socio-political. Myanmar firstly has a gross dependence on its primary sector, without adequate diversification. Moreover, the unequal distribution of political power and status means Myanmar is unable to adequately use political institutions to benefit industries and pull their economy out of disrepair. Now, let's explore these factors even further.
Now, let's take a closer look at the dependence Myanmar has on its primary sector. But to do that, we need to understand what this sector is all about. Two-thirds of the Myanmar labor force is involved in agriculture, while agriculture produces almost half of the entire Myanmar GDP. The main industries are crop production, such as rice, beans, and corn, then livestock and fisheries. Interestingly, within Myanmar's agriculture industry, half of all land is dedicated to rice cultivation, and a total of 12.8 million hectares are for agriculture. Given the lack of diversification of industries, this is even more visible within agriculture, as 43% of Myanmar's earnings from agriculture comes from rice. Myanmar's rice production is definitely important, undeniably, but it is still less efficient than other rice producers in the region. One day of work produces 23 kilograms of rice in Myanmar. Now, that might seem like a lot, but that's compared to 62 kilos in Cambodia, 429 in Vietnam, and 547 kilograms in Thailand. Now that we know what's happening in Myanmar around the rice and agriculture sector, let's consider why this is a barrier to economic growth and development. Having a strong reliance on agriculture makes an economy vulnerable to price volatility, which is a common condition of agricultural products. Primary products are more volatile than manufactured products as they have lower PED and PES values. Because Myanmar relies on agriculture for almost half their GDP, this volatility reduces investment, employment, and wages. All of these are harmful to development. Farmers are typically in rural backgrounds, and the informal income of agriculture puts them at greater risk of being trapped in the poverty cycle. Speculation is another consequence of price volatility that farmers have to contend with. Producers simply cannot plan, and this reduces their ability to invest tactically to develop. Lastly, Myanmar's balance of payments is affected by this dependence on agriculture. Volatility means they have unstable export earnings and decreased government revenue, meaning a government, even if they're well intentioned, cannot invest in key infrastructure like healthcare or education. Now that we've explored how depending on primary sector production harms Myanmar's prospects, let's see how unequal political power exacerbates this problem.
Before I explore why this is a barrier to economic growth in Myanmar, let's take a closer look at the political system. Myanmar has three party clusters within the government: ethnic parties, non ethnic parties tied to the military, and non ethnic parties tied to the Democratic Party. Already, we can see how strong the military presence is, which creates a polarization in politics. The military holds 25% of seats in parliaments, more specifically national and regional. This is definitely harmful to political equity as it has meant that the military in Myanmar has had a significant foothold on political decisions for many years and election cycles. Beyond having an impact on political system, the military coup has caused decreased economic output for farmers in regions that are facing conflict. The unequal power in politics extends to gender as well, as only 10.2% of women have their parliament seats held by them. Now, we can see how the military coup has heightened their involvement and the inequality of political power in Myanmar. Let's explore why this leads to slower economic growth. Elite groups, in this case the military, sway political decisions which reduces the benefit that reaches farmers, creating a large portion of GDP and employment. Myanmar also has a caste system which decreases social mobility and creates an unequal distribution in wealth, income, and power due to the limited opportunities provided for people to work and improve economically. After the military coup, the unstable government is in Myanmar has led to an unstable macroeconomic environment that's also harmful to the economy. Investment also becomes riskier because of the lack of political stability. This instability leads to an outflow of capital as people seek to protect their assets, which is known as capital flight. A balance in payments deficit risk is increased, and the military conflict in Myanmar is a strong contributor to famine, as per the World Bank. Political instability is a cause of low income because it amplifies low economic growth. Low incomes are a cause of political instability as they lead to widespread dissatisfaction and frustration with economic conditions for which the government is held responsible. This causal relationship is harmful for both the economy and the people. From that, we can see how both unequal political power leading to the military and dependence on the primary sector are factors that hinder Myanmar's economic growth and development. While the situation in Myanmar is bleak, there is still a chance for beneficial change to happen that can bring forward their economy.
Global spotlight on the crisis in Myanmar can rally support for the farmers and for those most affected by the pandemic and draconian measures implemented by the military. The last thing we want to see is the culture, heritage, and society of Myanmar fall to these inequitable institutions and elite groups, thus making it more important now than ever for cooperation and collaboration. That's all the time for now, till the next one.